I say hello next to her. Hi.
Hi, Angelina.
Hello, Caroline.
So, and this is WTF, Stories and Advice, and
Bad advice, right?
bad life advice. I don't think you should take it, but hey, no. Actually, I get paid quite a lot of money for the advice I give.
Caroline does. Trust me, she's definitely worth it.
I don't know if they should, but yeah, that's how my life worked out. So, yes, I'm Caroline Cranshaw. I'm a hypnotherapist and pretty much just a know-it-all. And we have...
I can concur with that. I'm Angelina Grey. I'm a radio host on a station called Radio Hauraki.
And we're in Auckland, New Zealand. I'm a recovering American, if you haven't heard that already. So I'm a refugee. But we're going to talk about a few cool things today.
Yeah, well, it's been a little while since I've been hanging out in this chair with you.
I know. We've been shocking. We just can't seem to find the time.
It's working and then children and yes.
Yes.
Sickness. So the last time I saw you, Caroline, was at the after party at the Radio Awards. Great night.
Yeah, from what I remember, I think it was pretty good.
See, I thought, okay, I saw Caroline. You totally, I thought, were completely together. I thought you were far more together than I was.
No, I thought you were far more together than I was, actually.
Amazing. Okay, so found a secret. So you know how a few episodes back you discussed anti-hangover cures?
Yeah.
So I followed that one night. Do you know what's really funny? Charcoal's involved in that, right? Because I opened up my wallet the other day in a zip compartment I hadn't opened for ages, and a cloud of black just went poof, everywhere, all over my cards, all over my face, took forever to clean off. And it was obviously I'd gone out intending to take these charcoal tablets throughout the night. It didn't.
Oh, no.
They sort of expired, and that took quite some time to clean off. My new trick is a thing that you can get from the chemist if you're in New Zealand. Don't know about elsewhere in the world. It's called Hydrodol. So you take one tablet with your first drink, and then I think there are 3 other tablets. Make sure you drink a bit of water. I don't know whether it makes you thirstier, so you do drink water, so maybe that's the key as well, perhaps, but I found I was quite thirsty. Boom. Next day, I felt awesome. I felt well enough to go out and party the next night, and I'm a mum who does not go out, so that is saying something.
That's
massive.
amazing.
Totally.
Because I did my hangover trick. I took my NAC, which is N-acetylcysteine, which is supposed to like make your liver process things better. Mm-hmm. And I did the charcoal when I got home, and I spent the morning vomiting. And I don't think I just drank like Prosecco with like orange in it all night. It's not like I mixed my drinks. I was a mess, but my mistake was I didn't eat dinner.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Before I came.
Yes.
And which was very dumb, but we were running out of time. And I ate like a few chips, which I'm sorry, like some hot fries or chips or whatever you want to call them that were like being passed around. And apparently it wasn't enough to line my stomach. So,
no.
So
I'll
be
crazy.
Trying that though.
Yeah, totally. I'm trying to think how expensive it would be, but I would buy shares in that because I've been telling all my friends.
Well,
Give this a go.
You told me about it the next day when I was vomiting and crying. So I was messaging you saying, I'm dying.
What have I done?
It's weird. I haven't had a hangover like that for a very long time.
That happens at Radio Awards, trust me.
Yeah. So
free booze.
I know. So I looked it up, what you had, and the ingredients look really good. And some ones I wouldn't even think of. Mm-hmm. There's like this really interesting, it's like Cousden or, we'll put a link to the website for us in the notes so that you can see if you can find this yourself. But yeah, you know, in the States, they have these like people that'll come to your house with like IVs. And they'll give you like an IV treatment that like just
B vitamins or something.
Yeah, it's like B vitamins and probably like the NAC or I don't know what. But apparently, like I've got several clients that, you know, live here and live in the States. And they were like, oh no, darling, you just call the IV ladies and you just have it all sorted out.
That is incredible.
I know.
They need to do that here.
They do.
The amount of work that would actually get done if we had those people. You could bounce back after a staff party the next day easy.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
How to continue to consume way too much alcohol and for some people, recreational other...
Yeah. How to be hang on, we're turning into Enabler FM pretty much.
Oh, well. So I got a little email from a listener I thought I would share.
Love to hear it.
Yes. So it says, hi. Just discovered the podcast and played half of your Should You Go Back to X episode. I was shocked by your very ignorant, offensive, and cringy, repeatedly high-pitched rendition of a Thai accent. This is not okay in 2019. Yeah. So what she's referring to in the episode Should You Go Back to Your Ex is I talk about how I went to Thailand and I got a massage and a woman tried to give me a happy ending. And so when I told the story, I imitated a Thai accent because quite frankly, if I just said it in my own accent, I think it just wouldn't have the same effect.
Yeah.
So to cover that off, if I have ever offended anyone in any way, I'm truly sorry. That's never my intention. But I don't think it's racist to imitate. Hence, I am not good at imitating accents. I will straight up admit that. But I'm never making fun of someone because of their accent. I was just using it for effect. I do have a warning on this podcast that says if you're easily offended, don't listen. So for anyone else listening, if that's you, if you're easily offended, well, you can fuck off right now. That's my advice.
Boom. Mic drop. And to be fair, I imitate people's accents all the time if I'm telling a story. If I'm pretending to be you, I'll be throwing out an American accent.
Hey, people make fun of my accent to my face all the time.
But it's not about necessarily making fun. It's just it's not embellishing the story, but it's illustrating the story. You know what I mean?
Oh, people straight up make fun of my accent. Oh. But you know what? I don't care. I laugh at it. I think it's funny. And it's interesting because since I got that email, I've I watch a lot of comedy and I've been kind of paying attention. It seems like everyone imitates accents.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, for me, I never...
Maybe it's just complaining because you just did a shit job.
Well, maybe. I probably did. I probably did a horrible job. I am not great at accents, as I said.
Me, when I'm drunk, I'm really good at an Irish accent. I will pull off lying to people saying that I'm from Ireland because, hey, it gets you bought drinks. But I can't really do it sober.
I can do a bit of an Irish accent, actually.
Really?
Yeah, because I remember I loved Ireland. Went to Ireland, and you go out of Dublin, and they all go, "Oh, have you been to Dublin?" And I was like, "Yeah, I have. It's great. Do you like it?" And they're like, "I fucking hate Dublin." And you're like, oh, why do you hate Dublin? And they're like, "Well, if I went to the pub, I wouldn't fucking know anybody." And you're like, "Oh, okay."
Oh.
I thought that was hilarious. So that's my only way I can imitate an Irish accent is to say, "I fucking hate Dublin."
I fucking hate Dublin. It's amazing.
I mean, for me, I judge people not on how they talk or how they look, but actually on their character. Call me crazy, but yeah, that's just how I do things. And if you're
pretty much your situation, then I think you've judged that person by what she was trying to do to you.
Oh, I don't know. I think, she was just easily offended. And I think there's a lot of, I don't want to say snowflakes because I hate it when people in America say snowflakes. Yeah. But I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I offend anyone, but that's never my intention. And you're going to be offended in some way if you listen to this podcast, probably, if you're that type of person. So just thought, public service warning.
We'll just
let you know. If you don't like it, you can change the podcast and listen to something else.
Easily done. Okay, so last time we got together, we were talking about Paul Wilson, right, on being out on parole and the killing of Nicole Tuxford.
Yeah, psycho.
Interestingly enough, he was in the news just recently because it turns out that when he was on parole, he was involved in a family violence incident. Cops came along. Obviously, if that was the case, he'd be straight back in prison. He claimed he was being stalked. So that woman that he was involved with, she got issued the trespass notice and the cops were treating him as the victim, which meant that he stayed out on parole. He went on to stalk and kill Nicole Tuxford.
So if the police had handled that situation properly...
that should have been a red flag, man. That should have...
He would have gotten recalled from being on parole back into prison and she'd still be alive.
Yeah, 100%.
Bloody psychopaths, I swear to God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. Do you know what the difference is between a psychopath and a sociopath?
One doesn't feel any empathy, right? Mm-hmm. So is that a sociopath? Don't know. I need to... Obviously, you are the expert on this, so you have the information.
Well, I do know a little bit about this. I think it's interesting to kind of cover off narcissists, sociopaths, and psychopaths, right? Because we use those terms a lot in the media, and we're always calling Trump a narcissistic sociopath.
And serial killers are usually a combination of
they're
one
normally
or two
all
or three.
Three.
Right.
They're normally all three. They are always sociopaths and psychopaths. Yeah, it's really interesting. I find it fascinating topic. It's something I actually teach at my school where I teach hypnotherapy because I think it's important to kind of be able to spot this. And there's a lot of them out there. So you need to be able to like help people that are dealing with that type of person because they're differently wired than other people.
And so when you're in a relationship banging your head against the wall, you might actually discover that your partner is in fact a narcissist or a sociopath or what have you.
Yeah, hopefully not a psychopath. Because if you're with a psychopath, girl, run. That's all I have to say.
Well, tell us the difference and point out the red flags.
I will. Narcissists, sociopaths, and psychopaths all fall under cluster B personality disorder. And what they are is, so there's antisocial personality disorder. And what that is a pervasive disregard for the law and rights of others. And that's sociopaths and psychopaths. So in psychological terms, you don't label people a psychopath or a sociopath. Mm-hmm. What you do is you say they have antisocial personality disorder. Mm-hmm. And then there's the narcissistic personality disorder. And so with them, they have a pervasive pattern of grandiosity, a need for admiration, and a lack of empathy. And, well, I mean, psychopaths and sociopaths have a lack of empathy as well. It just is basically sociopaths are milder versions of psychopaths.
Okay.
Sociopaths definitely aren't as empathetic, but they can have some empathy. Right? They'll care about normally their family members or their partner, but they really don't have a lot of empathy, but they can make bonds.
So if you look at, like I recently watched the actual movie, that Ted Bundy movie with Zac Efron playing Ted Bundy. So he would be a sociopath because he obviously had quite a big bond with his partner.
Yeah, I don't think
and
so.
And his mum? No, you think that
I
was
don't
fake?
think so. So I think psychopaths still can have bonds, but it's an act. They don't really care.
Right.
They pretend to care. And it's all about them and how they feel with them. The reason why I don't think Bundy he is a sociopath because all psychopaths are sociopaths.
Yeah.
But what he was capable of doing to those women and, the horrific abuse and what the biting and the just horrific. Yeah, I have a hard time believing that that's not a psychopath.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. They're just milder versions. And then there's narcissistic personality disorder. They have this exaggerated sense of entitlement. They have an extreme need for admiration, and they do lack empathy, right? Mm-hmm. So a lot of people kind of mistake them for sociopaths, but they could be just, more of a narcissist. They spend a lot of time fantasizing about achieving power and success, and they're really focused on their appearance. I mean, all you have to think about is Trump.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like the appearance thing, he's kind of cocked that one up.
Yeah, but he does, he's got his hair and his makeup. So proud of it. And,
yes.
He really does think he's great looking. And he's also very focused on the way other people look, and that's why he's obsessed with his daughter and
Look at his wife. Yeah.
Oh, it's interesting. The interesting thing about narcissists is they have an incredibly delicate sense of self-worth. It's very easily wounded. So if you put them down, they have this fragile ego that gets triggered off and they can go after you. So there's there's different types of narcissists.
Definitely think I know a few.
Oh, you would?
Yeah.
You absolutely would. So there's the classic narcissist, and they're also known as the grandiose narcissist, and they're the type that people think of when they think narcissist.
Okay.
So they need constant attention, so they're always bragging about themselves, they're always fishing for compliments, and they believe that they're entitled to special treatment. When the topic of a conversation goes to something else, they become totally bored, right? And they'll try to change the subject or bring attention back to themselves, sounding like anyone you might know.
Yes.
And they don't like sharing the spotlight. So they see themselves as superior to most people, but they also have this desperate need to feel important for other people to make them feel important.
Yes.
And then there's what they call the vulnerable narcissist. So they're also known as fragile or closet narcissists, and they still feel like they're superior to others, but they're introverts. So what they do is they attach themselves to other important people, and they get the attention through them. Ooh. So they'll attach themselves to political figures or celebrities or anyone who's doing extremely well. They could be assistants, they could be partners, but they'll go after, when you think of a girlfriend of mine who loves going out with professional athletes, she calls herself a ho pro, you know what I mean? A pro ho.
All right, yeah.
I don't think she's a vulnerable narcissist, but it's interesting how they'll manipulate in order to get attention, but it's never for them. It's for someone else, right? Yeah. It's through someone else. So it's interesting.
And pageant mothers could be a bit like that too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Stage mums. Exactly. Yeah. They would be what you call closet narcissists.
Yeah.
So they're getting all this attention through their child. And then there's what they call toxic narcissists. And those are the most scary of them all because they're the most manipulative. They have less empathy than the other two types of narcissists. And they're often compared to sociopaths and psychopaths. And I think they actually could, they'll have traits of it, or, they can be a blend.
Because would you say it's fluid, that some people, it's more, you could say they've got narcissistic traits rather than being an actual narcissist? Or is it fluid like that? Like bits and pieces of
absolutely
those traits blending into one person?
Yeah, and I think as you get older, you can grow out of it. Right. I think all children are sociopathic narcissists. I really do. A toddler is a total sociopathic narcissist. They think the world revolves around them.
No empathy.
No empathy, don't give a crap. Yeah, so they are.
And so is it like a brain thing? Because I know that with toddlers, it's because they haven't developed properly their frontal cortex or whatever. They're kind of going by base instincts as well. Would you say that would be the same for a
I think it
grown-up
can
narcissist?
be. Yeah, I think it can be. I think it can be a developmental thing. They think that it can be genetic. They also think that it can be from how you're raised. It can be that either you were raised to believe the sun shines out of your ass, basically, and you're the golden child, so nothing you did was ever wrong. So you think you're better than other people, and you expect special treatment because that's how you're raised. But the other side of that, it can be that you were ignored and you didn't get enough attention. So therefore, you need to make yourself feel better and try to get this attention.
So anything else will trigger that feeling of when you're little feeling ignored and
so you need to feel important, and you need to feel like you're better than other people. But the toxic ones they've got a sadistic streak and they want to dominate and control. So if someone is showing a lack of remorse, they talk about themselves all the time, but they have like a sadistic bend, you stay the hell away from them. But here's the thing on how to deal with a narcissist. You want to flatter the fuck out of them, basically. Don't mess with them. Don't openly challenge them in front of other people, and just feed their egos. Like if you were, I know I always come back to Trump, but like if I were to meet Trump, I wouldn't be like, I think you're blah, blah, blah. The way I would try to connect with him is through flattery. Absolutely. Because anything else, you're just going to make yourself a target.
Yeah.
And just avoid conflict with them. And if you can, just get the hell away.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're kind of manipulating them by flattering them and moving to the side.
Yeah. Because you don't want to take them on. Because they will go to the ends of the earth to destroy you if you wound their ego or publicly embarrass them. Right. Yeah. You want to be very, very careful.
So that's how to deal with them so you come out A-okay.
Absolutely. They say 1% of the population is narcissists. So that would be, let's say, take New Zealand, for example, 5 million. What would that be?
50,000?
50,000.
Maybe, I think.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Sociopaths, they say, is 4% of the population.
Oh, geez.
So that is
200.
That's
200,000. Yeah.
Out of 5 million? Yeah.
Yeah.
So then sociopaths, there's around 200,000. A lot of sociopaths could still be narcissists.
Okay.
But then psychopaths, it's 1%. So we're talking, I'd say maybe 6% of the population you need to stay the fuck away from. Basically.
There's like 500,000 people in New Zealand to steer clear of.
Yeah.
That's frightening.
It is. But then you got to think a lot of those personality disorders overlap.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
A lot of narcissists are sociopaths. A lot of sociopaths are psychopaths.
Okay.
So the numbers can go down, right? But still, I would say out of a population of 5 million, which is around New Zealand, you've got to be wary of, let's say, 225,000 people.
Well, there's enough people that you would probably be bumping into.
Yeah. Well, 5%, that's 1 out of 20.
Oh, God. Yeah.
1 out of 20 people has one of these personality disorders, if not all.
Yeah.
So sociopaths, they just really don't care about anyone else. They're the ones that break the law. They tend to be a very high percentage that are in jail. And they lack empathy. But they say out of prison population, around 25% of the prison population are sociopaths.
Right.
So while they're like 4% in the population, they're 25% in prison. The same thing is that with psychopaths, they say it's also 25%. So again, they could be overlapping and be the same, but they say that 21% of corporate executives have sociopathic tendencies.
So that's how they got to the top, just by not giving a shit about anyone else.
Pretty much. Like, while sociopaths will feel bad about stealing your money and they know it's wrong, they may feel some guilt or remorse, but they'll still do it.
Okay.
Whereas a psychopath does not care. They have a complete lack of guilt and remorse, a lack of empathy. They don't have emotional attachments, though they may act like they do. It may give them something, right? So like Ted Bundy. But the thing that sets psychopaths apart is they're amazing actors.
Okay.
So they're watching people. They know they're different. They can feel that they're different inside. They know they tend to not feel emotions like other people. So then they watch other people and they'll basically feed back what they think that person wants to hear, or they'll try to act like others. But yeah, I mean, there's real signs like hurting animals and starting fires and apparently wetting the bed as well to a late age can also be a sign of psychopathy, which is interesting. The thing I find the most interesting about psychopaths is you actually can spot them through brain scans. If you show them photos of like crime scenes and murders and things like this, the normal person, your brain gets very triggered and you get all upset. Whereas with a psychopath, it calms down. Have I talked about this before?
Oh,
I think I might have.
I don't know, but that's interesting.
It calms down.
And frightening.
More. Yeah, it does. So it's like for them, when they get into extreme situations like murder or confrontation or anything like that, they're calmer than normal. They feel better than normal. So if you try to pick a fight with a sociopath or a psychopath, or you try to get into it with them, they feel good and they have no problem staying cool as a cucumber while they're doing it.
So you can't plead or reason with a psychopath.
No, because they don't care.
Of that thing of, please, I've got kids, think of a family. They don't give a shit.
No. So you'd be better off going, wow, you are really handsome. This is amazing. And you know what I mean? You'd be rather than pleading for your life, because they don't give a crap about that.
They want to be fed it. Yeah, right.
What you could do is make yourself valuable to them. Give them something that they need. And what they need is attention and reassurance and made to feel good.
Ooh, that's food for thought. All right. Yuck.
Have you watched the show Killing Eve?
No.
Oh my God, you have to watch it. It is. I've heard about it for years and I've kind of dismissed it. It is so good, you cannot believe it.
Where's it on? Where do I find it?
Here it's on demand, like TVNZ demand.
Yes, it is. Yes, I've seen it.
Yeah, but and I'm pretty sure you can watch it pretty much anywhere in any country. Yeah. But it is amazing. So Sandra Oh from Grey's Anatomy.
Yep.
But there's this other girl, I can't even remember what her name is, and her name is Villanelle or something. So Sandra Oh works for like MI5, and she's kind of like works with these different cases and kind of working with dangerous people, and they come across this assassin. And so she's the assassin and she is a psychopath. And it is so well done.
Wow.
I literally binge watched the first like 2 seasons like within days. It was just amazing.
Okay,
so,
I need to get my teeth into something, so that's rad.
Highly
Is it like
recommended.
I've never watched it actually, but is it like Dexter? Because wasn't he was he a sociopath or a psychopath?
I think he was a psychopath. I think I watched the first few ones, but I didn't continue to watch it. I should go back and look at it, but no, I didn't. But yeah, it's the girl who plays the psychopath, and she's just this assassin. She's like from Russia, but she literally can do every accent you've ever imagined. Apparently she's just from like Manchester, right? But she can do a French accent, a Russian accent. American accent. She just swaps around like that and becomes like a different person. She's amazing. This girl needs like Emmy nominations and needs to be in some big movies because she's unbelievable.
I need to look her up. It was like, have you seen the movie, the series Orphan Black?
No, I've heard about. My mother was just telling me about that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it's a girl who's she's playing like essentially clones of herself.
Yeah.
Not that I want to give anything away too much, but the way she can just swap from this to that is First 2 seasons great, then it kind of got a bit weird. But
yeah, I'll have to watch it. Yeah, she was just saying, because we were actually talking about that show, Killing Eve, and then she said, have you watched this? And I said, no, I haven't. And she said, you've got to see that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So a little recommendation. Be careful of the psychopaths.
So actually, speaking of recommendations, I started reading that book that you recommended. The title is
You Are Psychic by Debra Lynn Katz.
Yes.
Yes. So good.
Because it's funny because I was talking to a girlfriend the other day, and it's that thing of you've actually got to be careful who you bring certain things up with because you don't know what your audience is like and what they're going to think.
Yeah.
But I've had a few weird things happen to me, a lot over the course of my life with things going on. Not quite sure what it's about. Then when I brought it up with you, you said, read this book. Totally resonating.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so what weird things? Tell us a story.
Okay, the first story which is probably well, I mean, my nana was really psychic. Well, she always said she was very psychic. And she always said, you've got it. There are people all around you. Da, 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 da. So apparently there were some weird things that happened when I was younger that confirmed it to her. But it probably wasn't until I was about 16 one night I was in my room and I was deciding whether I stay at school or whether I try and get into university early or something. So I had some big life question. And I actually said, right, whoever's around me, if there is such a thing, I need a sign. Am I to stay at school? I'm in a quandary about this. So what's your answer? My alarm clock turned on by itself, spelt out yes, it started flashing on and off. I pulled it out I pulled it out of the wall. It kept on going, like music blaring.
I'm getting goose pimples.
And I ran out and went, Mom, I don't know how to make this stop. What happened? And she could testify to this, and she was like, right, that's not, this is something. And then ever since then...
Holy crap.
I have a feeling that, I think she told me years later that she then got someone in to kind of clear my... Right, Mum's not super woo-woo at all, but she got someone in to clear the room because she didn't know if I was ready for that.
Oh, yeah.
But everything's always started off with electronics and kind of, things turning on when they are not plugged in or, you know what I mean? Like TVs starting up by themselves on and off and lights going and...
Yeah.
But definitely words getting spelt out, but that's the first. That's the first of many.
Yeah, I would say your clock radio spelling out yes and turning on by itself and continue. Yeah, I would say that's a big sign.
Yeah.
My family, my grandmother was very, very psychic, and my mother is quite psychic, although she goes, oh, no, I just have feelings about things, right? She doesn't like to call it psychic. But the first time I saw my mother, she'd always know when I was lying to her, no matter what. And she always knew when I was getting up to no good. Never stopped me. But I remember I was probably about 13, and she had a date that night. And so was telling me I had to stay at home or whatever. And the guy, she's getting ready for a date, and the guy calls up and he cancels the date. And she was like, okay, that's fine, blah, blah. And she hangs up the phone and she looks at me and she goes, get in the car. And I was like, okay, where are we going? And she said, actually, wait 10 minutes. No, we're going to wait 10 minutes and then we're going to go. And I'm like, where are we going? And she was like, I don't know. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, are we going out because your date's been canceled? And she was like, I don't know. So we wait 10 minutes. We get in the car. We drive around. We drive for ages, like 45 minutes across town to like a place I'd never been in, something called Auckland, which is just over the bridge from San Francisco. We're driving around. I'm like, Mom, what are we doing? Or Mom, being American, Mom, I'm hungry. I want to, and she's like, shut up. And she was like, this is it. She stops the car. She's like, stay here. And she gets out. She walks across the street and I see her knocking and waving into a restaurant window. And that's it. And I can't really see what's going on. And I'm like, who's she waving at? So she comes back in the car and I said, who are you waving at? And she said, oh, the guy who canceled my date. And I was like, what? And she was like, yeah, I just had this feeling he was taking someone else out instead. And I just knew that I'd be able to find where he was. And it was a restaurant she had never been to. And I went, holy crap. Okay.
Yeah.
She just knew. But she must have scared the crap out of the guy.
He just would have been, wondered if she'd been waiting outside. Oh, God, wow. Okay. And seeing that firsthand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But okay. Debra Katz, if you want to know a book about psychic ability, it's a fabulous one. And she's got like all these little tips. And I swear I use them with clients all the time. Not like psychic ability stuff, but she's got things for like grounding yourself and grounding your energy and ways.
That's what I found fascinating.
Yeah. And ways of kind of getting messages or, because your intuition is very powerful. And I think your intuition is very tied up with your subconscious mind. Mm-hmm. So your subconscious mind processes like 40 billion bits of information a minute, right? So we're processing a lot of info, but the conscious mind filters that out. So the conscious mind processes like 100 bits of information a minute. So we have 40 billion bits of information coming in that our subconscious is processing. And then it kind of filters through the conscious mind, which is like, can't use that. And it blocks like 99% of what's coming in.
Okay.
So I think the subconscious is very much part of that. So for me, I'll put in messages like you'll get a red or a green light with people. Like, what I'll say to people in their sessions, if someone is good for you or you can trust them, you'll get a green light. If something or someone is bad for you, you'll get a red light. And it's just little things that we can get our subconscious to communicate with us.
Right. So I guess that's that thing of, what's the percentage of the brain that we use? Isn't it something ridiculous, like only 10%?
Yeah, they say 10%, but I don't know how accurate. I mean, how can you say we don't use our brain? You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah. Okay.
So I think maybe a better way to put it would be we only use 10% of our capacity of our brain. You know what I mean?
All right.
Like we have so much more that we actually could do with our brain, but we don't have an instruction manual for it. But I think hypnotherapy, to be honest, is one way that you actually can program your brain to do things that you want it to do. And once you instruct that part of your brain to like ask it to do things, it starts to do it.
Okay.
Like if you want to write something or if you have a project you need to do, like for me, I never just sit down and write. I like the day before go, right, I need to write something on this. And so subconscious mind, you just work on that. And then it takes me like, I don't know, half an hour, maybe an hour to write, 1,000 to 2,000 words. It just comes out.
Okay.
Because my subconscious mind has already been working on it and I've given it instructions.
Boom.
Another way that's really good, and I learned this from my grandmother of how to kind of develop intuition, is what I call like a card trick, basically. So my grandmother loved to play cards. She was obsessed with cards. She was always playing cards, and she was always trying to get me to play cards, which I wasn't so interested. But when I was a child, what she'd do is she'd hold the card up to my forehead, and she'd say, "What color is it?" And so she'd do that, and she'd do it over and over, and I got very good at it, but I never could beat her. She would always get a minimum of 20 in a row. And normally by the time she hit 25, she would stop because she didn't want to get any wrong.
Yeah. Okay.
But like, that's 50-50 odds. But to get like 20, 25 correct, she would always get it. It was really interesting.
Okay. So, and that's just from her working on it and developing it.
Yeah. There's lots of ways that you kind of develop it and work on it. And I think it's just asking, here's another one. That's great. A way, and this is in the book, actually.
Because I've only got to at the moment I'm at the grounding part, I think. I think I've just moved past that. So there's heaps more for me to read.
Yeah. So there's a technique on how to find lost objects. And I remember reading this and it's like, what it says is attach a color to the lost object. And when you look down at wherever you think the object may be, look for a flash of color. I might have told this story before, actually, on the podcast. I'm trying to think.
I don't know.
Anyways, I read that. I went over to a girlfriend's house, and I was telling her about it. And she was like, well, I'm missing my remote control of my TV. I haven't been able to find it for like 3 weeks. If you can find that, I'll believe you. And so I just stood in her lounge, and I imagined a color, like, attached to this remote. And I just saw, like, a flash of pink on the... I have added pink.
Yeah.
On the wall. And I walked over to the wall and there was a painting there and I pulled the painting off the wall and I just reached in and the remote was behind the painting and she stood there and went, "You're a freak! You're a freak!" And I was like, "Ta-da! See, it works!"
I'm confused as to how the hell the remote got behind the painting in the first place.
She had toddlers.
Yeah, see, this is happening to me all the time. I'm always losing the remote.
Yeah.
It's behind don't know how I find it, behind the kitchen door half the time. I've just lost 2 pieces of jewellery that I know are together somewhere. I don't know where the hell they've gone, so I'm going to use that and I'm going to report back and let you know.
Yeah, I've got a client tomorrow who has lost an expensive piece of jewelry that she thinks that she's hidden in the house.
Yes.
I'm going to use probably some muscle testing with her and I'll get her to kind of do that technique and also kind of hypnotize her to see where it's gone. But yeah, I get people all the time with lost objects and sometimes I'll just talk to them on the phone and go, have you looked here? And then they go and look and they're like, "Oh, how did you know that?" Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Like, I just attached a color to it. They must think I'm nuts.
Yeah, that's fascinating though. Okay.
Yeah, it's a good little trick. So I'm trying to think of what other psychic things.
And so do you use it mainly for... Is it objects? Is it for reading people? Or how would you use it mainly for your sort of tools?
With psychic ability?
Yeah.
I do use it sometimes with clients. Like I'll get kind of feelings about things. I try not to interfere with that because I really do believe for me, I want answers to come from them. And that's why I'll use muscle testing or kinesiology. And it's a way of asking the body questions. You just have them put their arm out and you ask them yes or no questions. So that way the answer comes from them.
Yes.
Because for me, I may think something, but that's my opinion, right? It's
exactly,
not theirs.
right.
It needs to come from them. But sometimes, I just can't help myself. And I'll be like, nope, just wait on that. I'm feeling a better job's coming along and just wait till this date or,
So you can do it with dates and all that kind of thing and future events. Because I think the thing that people get confused about, and I have in the past, is the difference between psychic abilities and mediumship. When people start going into that, which gets a bit muddled.
Yeah.
And some people say, "Oh, no, that's coming from otherworldly. That's information is from a dead person," rather than say you reading someone's energy or, you know what I mean? Yeah,
and I just try not to focus too much on where it comes from, but everything's energy.
Well, exactly, right?
Yeah. And everything's kind of in the ethers. And I don't.
If you read the book E=mc², I can't think who it's by, but it's essentially about Albert Einstein and his theories of relativity and energy and everything all together. He believes in everything being connected. It's going to be shown, it's going to be a scientific fact at some point. It might be years to come that all this energy is connected, and that's why people can read things and know about things.
I think it's already being proven.
Right, yeah.
That's the thing. It's interesting with different quantum experiments they're doing and string theory. Have you heard about that?
I have, and I have never properly delved into it because I know that I think I started to once. It was a late night conversation. It went down a wormhole and it went somewhere weird. So...
Yeah, or parallel universes. There's a lot of people that are really into that. I had a girlfriend once. We used to go to this group of like spiritual women. I ended up getting invited along. Most of the women were like in their 80s, and they were like the original founding members of the New Zealand Spiritualist Society.
That would be fascinating, right?
It really was. They were a cool bunch of women. And so, but it was a girlfriend who was like kind of the same age as me. And so we're driving to one of the meetings, and she says to me, I'm really, really upset today. And I said, oh, why are you upset? And she said, well, you're going to think I'm weird if I tell you. And I was like, oh, please, I've heard it all. And she was like, well, I feel like one of my parallel lives is dying today. And I'm just really upset. And I was like, okay, yeah, you're right. I think you're weird. And she was just like, I knew you'd say that. And I'm like, well, I don't know. How can I prove you're not having a parallel life this time? But in my head, I'm really going, okay, hun, maybe you need to lay off the weed, or I don't know. Have you done acid recently? Because that could be affecting it. And but I listened to her and I was respectful, because who am I to say that something's wrong? You just never know. I never discount anything pretty much anyone says, because they could be right.
Yeah.
And so we get to this meeting where all these women are, and this woman who was there, it's like a woman in her 80s, comes up to her and she said, grabs my friend by the shoulder and she said, are you okay? My friend said, oh, I'm kind of upset. And the woman says to her, do you believe in parallel lives? My friend said, yes, I do. And she said, well, I think one of your parallel lives is dying today. And my friend's like, she is. And they go off in the corner. My friend's bawling, and
I just got goosebumps actually.
Yeah. And I was like, sitting there with my mouth hanging open.
Right.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Did I ever tell the story of, what else happened in that meeting about how they made me channel? I'm not sure if I have. I may have told this story before.
I want to hear this.
But if it's been told before, then I apologize and maybe we'll edit it out. But so she was doing different things. It might have been another meeting, actually. It was another meeting because it was the last one I ever went to. So this one of the women is doing different things with different people, and with my friend, she brought her back to some life where she had crashed to Earth and she was an alien and she was really ugly to other people. Whoa. And it was she did all these different things with people. That was everyone was very, very emotional. And it was quite kind of traumatic. And I'm sitting there going, okay. And I'm like, I don't really want to participate in this one, thanks. And I'm going,
everyone's having a shit time.
Really crazy stuff. And so she comes up to me, and I'm sitting in a desk chair that spins around. And she just points in my face and she said, go into trance. And she wasn't a hypnotherapist or anything. I thought, I'm the only hypnotherapist there.
Hell yeah.
And I was like, what? And she said, you go into trance now. And I was like, ugh. And I shut my eyes, and I swear to God, I thought this happened, but apparently it hadn't, because I asked later. I felt like she spun the chair, and I was spinning in the chair, and I was just literally trying to hang on.
Whoa.
And I felt like I went down this slide, like a slide into something, right? The way I felt it was like a wormhole or something. I slid down into something, and then I'm in this kind of building. And she said, where are you? And I said, I don't know. And I'm looking around, and I can see little cracks of light, but I can't really see where I am. And I said, it kind of looks like the roof is like a pyramid. And she said, now look down at yourself. What do you see? And so I look at my arms, and they were like silver lizard skin, and I had black claws at the end. And I was like, my arms have lizard skin. I was really starting to get quite upset. Yeah. I have black claws. I don't like it. And she said, now feel your head. What does your head feel like? And so I feel my head, and I had a big bird's head with a long beak. And I'm like, oh, my bird's head, you know, and I literally could like feel it, you know, and I was like, yeah. And she said, what's your name? And I don't remember anything from this moment. I went, my name is Thoth. And I slightly remember that. And then I remember nothing.
Yeah.
And then I remember kind of coming to and like looking up, and I'm still sitting in that chair, and they're all sitting around me with their mouths hanging open. And I was like, what happened? And my friend's like, you don't remember? You don't remember? And I'm like, no, what's happened? And she was like, huh, you know, and all the women are like, and the one woman's like, did you get it all? Did you get it all? And she had recorded it. And
Did you listen to it back?
I didn't.
Yeah.
Because she told me I could come over and I could listen to it. I was too freaked out.
Traumatized.
Apparently, I said my name was Thoth, who I had never heard of until
I've heard of that before. Why have I heard of that before?
I had never heard of it before that. I looked it up later. And apparently, Thoth is an Egyptian god that's it's the god of scribes or writing, but also learning and teaching.
Oh.
I do write a lot, and I do teach.
Yeah.
And apparently, I talked for an hour and a half, and I have no memory of it at all. I don't remember what I said. So my friend and I was like, I want to go home. I want to go home. I'm leaving, you know. And I was like, take me home right now. So my friend drove me home, and I had one of the worst headaches I've ever had in my life. I had to lie down in the back seat, and every bump in that car ride home was like agony. I was literally covered. I couldn't have any light on my eyes. I kept screaming.
Jesus.
She was freaked out. She was like, do we need to take you to the hospital? And I was like, I just want to go home. I just want to go home. I think I made her stop and get me some water.
Yeah.
Because I was like literally so thirsty. I felt like I was going to die. I had a headache for like 3 days afterwards. I have no memory. But she said that basically I gave everyone in the room advice. And I knew all kinds of shit about everybody. Like about their children, about what was going on in their lives. And yeah. But you know what? That was not me. It was not me that did that. Totally. It was not me talking. Apparently everything about me kind of changed. I looked different. I talked different. I wanted to kind of hear what I said, but I also didn't, because I really felt like that actually wasn't me, and it really scared the shit out of me. Yeah. And I felt like maybe I just had a fucking psychotic break. I don't know. I've yet to have one since. Yes. But it scared me so bad that I never went back.
That's interesting.
I never went back. Because I was like, oh, hell no. I like to be in my body. I don't want shit coming into me. Yeah. And apparently I didn't say anything bad, or whoever didn't say anything bad, but it was just, I don't know. I don't like the thought that I can't remember and that I was talking.
And not being in control, and who is manipulating your body. Yeah. And will they stay there forever?
Exactly. What if they got comfortable and was like, yeah, bitch, you're not coming back. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. And then what would I be? I don't know. It scared the crap out of me. Yeah. And I still look at it and go, okay, maybe that was me and I just went along with it, and I was like hypnotized by her, and you know, I don't know. I am highly hypnotizable, but I'm also very hard to make me do anything I don't want to do. I'm like a pretty stubborn bitch, right? Yeah. So I'll do things if I agree, but like I won't do stage hypnosis or anything like that, because I'm like, fuck you. I'm not your performing monkey. Yeah. I don't know, but the fact that I couldn't remember, the fact that I had that headache for days, I was just like, no. They called me for like years trying to get me to come back, you know. That was.
But they would have been that this is gold. You would have been their golden ticket, pretty much.
Oh yeah, but hell no, I am not going to be having some bird creature talk through me.
Does that mean then that obviously you've got that ability to do that, but you're like, nah, not going there?
I don't know. Well, I did that one time apparently. Yeah. Or like some part of my brain decided to put on a show for people. Yeah. I don't know, but it really freaked me out.
And I love the fact that you were telling other people about their lives. Whoa, that would have
apparently was all good advice and very accurate.
Yeah, I was gonna say, damn.
Yeah. So no more channeling for me. I personally want to stay the hell away from it.
Haven't really ventured there again since.
Yeah.
Because that's just stuff that I don't want to delve too much into, because too many weird things can go wrong, potentially.
You just don't know what you're really messing with.
No.
And I have an open mind, but not so open my brain falls out. Yeah. That's how I look at it. You know what I mean? Because I've gone to some things that people are like, you know, channeling and light language and just this. Yes. And you're just like, what the lady? You need to stop smoking weed and like, yeah. I don't know. Maybe just cut back on the
sit down again.
Yeah. I don't think I don't know. But maybe I shouldn't be so cynical. It's interesting. I enjoy psychic phenomena. I think it's interesting, but I also think that you shouldn't bet your life savings on it. And I think you should be careful. And And here's the other thing. Like, I've talked to mediums who've supposedly talked to my dead relatives and stuff. I would take their advice as much as I would take their advice when they're alive. You know what I mean? Like, people suddenly think that if someone has passed on and they give them this advice, that they are, some all-knowing being. And I don't agree with that. I think it's like, if you're getting any messages from people on the other side, take their advice with a grain of salt, just like you would in reality.
Yes.
When they're still alive.
Okay. So if it's like your passed over grandmother who's saying this, this, and this, and this, well, did you follow her advice when she was here?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Because otherwise, don't follow it now. Yeah. Granny probably hasn't changed much.
So if you were looking for that book, the title again is You Are Psychic by Debra and Katz. Did you say it was?
That's correct, yeah. We'll put a link.
Yeah.
To that and the different things that we've talked about. And next week, we're going to talk about, one thing I really want to talk about is the virtual gastric band.
Oh, cool.
Which I've been doing with clients. I'm talking about that on the radio tomorrow, so that'll be interesting.
Okay.
So a bit of, to see if that would be something that can help people lose weight. It's definitely helped me recently, and I've poo-pooed it for years.
That's amazing.
And
so I'm just going to interject. Do you hypnotize yourself or do you get other people to do it?
I hypnotize myself.
Do you?
Yeah. Hell yeah. Well, I'm not going to trust someone else to do it. No, I'm just kidding.
I didn't know that you could do that. Whoa.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I just record it and then listen to it. But easy way to do it.
Yeah.
And there's also this amazing new nutrition software that my partner's put me on, and he's become like this nutrition coach and this particular type of like behavioral coaching that's really interesting and really absolutely changing the way I look at food and my eating habits. So we've got to talk about that next time as well.
Hell yeah.
It's really interesting.
All right, I'm down.
Well, thanks for listening to our nattering on.
Things got a bit crazy, but we got there.
Things always get a bit crazy though, don't they?
Very cool.
And if you want to write us or give us a review or share us with your friends, we would love that.
Subscribe
and like.
5 stars.
Yeah, because I'm a narcissist and I need a lot of attention. No, I'm just kidding.
Are you sure?
Maybe I am. Maybe. I think everyone's is slightly, but not diagnosable. And thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Aside for